Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. If you are new to the channel, thank you for finding us. Give us a what do I say? A sub, a thumbs up, and I almost said a thumb and a thumbs up. What would that be? Send me your thumbs. So yeah, thanks for checking out the channel. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really excited. I'm always really excited. I know I always say that, but I have a new favorite movie, and I'm really excited to talk to you about it. So this is the Tiger Cage set, and this was gifted to me by Louise, who's a subscriber here on the channel and who I've exchanged some really wonderful emails with. And I can't thank you enough for sending this to me. This is, I've only watched the first film so far. I had seen the second one before, but it's been years. But I'm reviewing the first film today, Tiger Cage, which came out in 1988. It's directed by Yuen Woo-ping. The cast of this movie is insane. It has Jackie Chung. You can see them all on the cover here. Jackie Chung is Dodo Cheng, Donnie Yen, Simon Yam, Beardy is in this movie, Ing Man Tat is in this movie, and Irene Wan is in this movie, and who else is in this movie? The guy from Avenging Eagle, Wang Lung Wei, is in this movie. He plays the villain, and he's in like a bunch of Shaw Brothers movies, and this is just an awesome. I can't give this movie high enough. I am like, my mind is blown. I'm gonna swear, and I apologize for that, and hopefully that doesn't mess us up with the YouTube algorithm. I can't fucking believe I haven't seen this movie, and I can't fucking believe that this movie is not regarded in the same way that people regard movies like Infernal Affairs, like Hard Boiled, like City on Fire. Like, this is absolutely one of the best heroic bloodshed films I've ever seen. This is in my top 10 now, like unequivocally, probably in the top 5. This is one of the best Hong Kong thrillers I've ever seen. This movie is incredible, and I'm gonna kind of walk you through why I believe that. But like, there's not a single thing I would change about this movie. Not a single thing. As I was watching it, I was like, when is the bottom gonna drop out? Because I was like, there's no way this movie is this good all the way through, and we're not talking about it the same way that we talk about these other classic films of that era. I'm like, and I hear more people talking about the second one than the first one. And again, it's been probably like 10 years since I've seen the second one. All I really remember about it is I think there's a sword fight with Donnie Yen. So when I watch the second one, I will review it for you. But I hear more people talking about the second one than the first one. And like, I can't believe that we don't talk about this movie the same way we talk about those other classic films from that era. This movie is incredible. Like, I really wouldn't change anything. I really thought there was going to be a point while I was watching it at which something was going to, like, the movie was going to fall apart, and it just kept getting better. Like, it kept getting better. It is so good. Like, if you like heroic bloodshed movies, shoot 'em up movies, John Woo movies, and dark thrillers about cops and criminals, like, there's no reason not to see this movie or go out and buy it right now. Like, this movie is incredible. So I'm going to give you just like a kind of overview of what my favorite things about it were, and then I'll be out of your hair. So I love the cinematography. There's something about the way this movie is shot. It feels like it's not super wide lenses. And it's kind of typically kind of close to the subject matter and not shooting from super far away. But for whatever reason, there's a very naturalistic feel to the cinematography that really makes you feel like you're there. The locations in this movie are incredible. Like, it opens up with a scene in like a nightclub, and there's part of the cops kind of, or it's not in a nightclub, it's like next to a nightclub. The building is like next to a nightclub, and the cops like raid this like criminals hideout, and the criminals and the cops all come spilling out of the building, and there's like a big chase, and they're climbing on these giant neon signs for this nightclub that you see in all these Hong Kong movies. And there's just so many amazing moments like that of just like really maximizing the use of location. But again, the way the movie is shot, like, I see a lot of weather in this movie. Like, there's fog in some scenes. In some scenes that are shot at night, you see this kind of like condensation, like haloing around the lights. It really gives you a sense of like being there, of feeling what it's like on the ground in Hong Kong, being in these locations in 1988. Like, it's just, and the action, I mean, it's Yuen Woo-ping, right? So like, the fight scenes are incredible, and there's some really good stunts in this movie. It opens with this amazing chase scene that just keeps going and going, right? You think it's going to end here, it'll end here. It just keeps, and it's like awesome. It just keeps going. And there's like great shootouts in this movie. There aren't a ton of fights. Apparently that's one of the criticisms people have of this film, is that Donnie Yen is in it and he's not doing like a shitload of fighting. I think, if I remember correctly, there's really like one kind of big marquee fight with Donnie Yen in it. I just thought this movie was incredible. Like, the acting is phenomenal. And I have to give a shout out. There's 2 cinematographers on this film, but one of them I noticed while I was watching the credits, his name is Tomato. So according to Frank, I did listen to there's a commentary on here with Frank Chang and Vincent Lin. Vincent Lin is in this movie too. Like what? Who's in Operation Condor and stuff. And so Vincent Lin and Frank Chang do an audio commentary together. That's really cool. But Frank said that the cinematographer's name sounds like Tomato. So when he picked an English name, he's just like, oh, I'll be Tomato. So his name is Tomato. So that's what it says for cinematography. I thought that was pretty funny. Music in this movie is incredible. It's got vibes for days, as Times Square Kung Fu would say. It just has those like classic, old school, awesome 80s Hong Kong vibes. Like with the music, the cinematography, the ambiance of the film, it just hooks you right away. And it is so incredible. So now I'm going to talk about the story structure, because that was something that really stood out to me. You've heard me talk on this channel before about heroic bloodshed films that basically are just a series of reactions, right? And Wild Search, which you can see right here, which is another one of my absolute favorite top 10 heroic bloodshed films. This one was put out by Eureka, stars Chow Yun-fat and Sherry Chung, and a bunch of other great actors are in this film. Roy Chung is in that one, who is also in Beast Cops, which I will be reviewing as a Patreon exclusive. So shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your contributions there. You can sign up for $2 a month or $5 a month is my other tier, and or you can give more or whatever. And there's all kinds of awesome stuff in there. So this video is going up as an early release in there. And I'll be reviewing Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead as a Patreon exclusive and some other movies coming up. So anyway, but get back to Tiger Cage. So Wild Search and a lot of other heroic bloodshed movies have this structure where it's really just a series of reactions, right? So there's like an opening scene, something happens, and then someone reacts to that, and then someone reacts to that, and these reactions just pile on top of each other, and there's character decisions being made, and it kind of snowballs until you reach a conclusion, right? The first half of this movie is a lot like that type of story structure, where it feels like this series of reactions. But as you're going through that, these little clues start to pop up that there might be something more going on, right? Because the other type of thriller that you see a lot of, and which Infernal Affairs would be a good example of, is a thriller that's really meticulously plotted, where there's a ton of information the audience doesn't know. And over the course of the movie, that information comes out, and it completely changes your perception of the film, like scene to scene, basically, and it keeps you guessing. And there's plot twists and things like that, right? Like halfway through, this movie switches narrative modes, and it goes from being one of these movies where it's just reactions to being like, oh, but guess what? We also have a butt ton of stuff we didn't tell you. There's all of these secrets. There's all these plot twists, and it all just comes flying out in the second half of the film, and it's like, what is going on? Like, it is so well done. And it reaches this point where there are scenes where like essentially you end up having these bad guys who start turning people against one another through these secrets that start getting revealed. And it gets to the point where like the good characters, even though they're good and they kind of know who's good, don't really trust anyone anymore. So they, like, the bad guys are splitting the good guys apart to make their job easier. And there's a level of paranoia in this film among the good characters that's so good. It's so well done. It really is evocative of, obviously it came out 10 years before Infernal Affairs, but Infernal Affairs has that incredible paranoia of the two central characters especially. And this film does a really incredible job of, there's really kind of like three or four kind of good characters who are being split apart by these bad guys, and they start mistrusting each other, and it's so well done. And there's just so much menace. There's such good bad guys, but it's just, this is such a good movie. Like, I can't say enough good things about it. And I did watch some of the bonus material on here if you're interested. I'm not going to do like a full Blu-ray review for this, because I was just more excited, honestly, to talk to you about the movie, because I just loved it so much. So the commentary track with Frank Chang, I'm not going to show you the disc because there's actually a major spoiler on the disc artwork. But Frank Chang and Vincent Lin's commentary is really, Frank does his amazing thing of just like, he knows so much information, cultural information, historical information, the context of the film, how much money it made, every movie that everyone in here was in, but also like all this cool kind of behind the scenes stuff. And then Vincent Lin was in the movie, so he talks about his experience of being in the movie. There's a separate bonus feature that's about 5 minutes long, where Frank and Vincent Lin forgot to talk about the triads. in the commentary track. So they do a separate video where they talk about the triads like showing up on the set of the movie, and Vincent Lin like tells that story. There's Vincent Lin behind the scenes footage, which is super cool. It's like VHS footage of like him being on the set of the movie, and you see him doing takes and like working on choreography. And there's a scene where he's like fighting with Jackie Chung, and they're trying to work out like the speed and the height and the velocity of the kicks that they're doing, and like it's just really, really cool stuff. So I would highly recommend checking those bonus features out. I'm just gonna I'm like a fool, I put the disc back in, or the case back in this rigid slipcase, and now I forgot to tell you what other stuff is on here, but I did watch them. Oh, there's a Donnie Yen interview, archival interview of Donnie Yen. It's really interesting. There's extra shots from the Taiwanese version, which I think is just like 30 seconds long. It's just like some stuff that was cut out. Theatrical, the original Hong Kong trailer and the English language trailer, and then it's got the 2.0 Canto Mono with remastered English subs, and then there's Mandarin on here, and there's also an English dub. And the default, just to let you know, it's a 2K, also a 2K scan, and it's reversible cover art with the original poster on the other side. Although I love that Sean Longmore art on the box here, so I just left it as that. And so what was I going to tell you? Oh, yeah, if you buy the Blu-ray, just heads up that the default language is the English dub. So you'll start the film, and I had to go back to the menu and change it into Cantonese because I wanted to watch it in Cantonese. But I can't recommend that movie. Like that, watching that movie has made me now want to do a top 10 of my favorite heroic bloodshed movies, because I loved it so much that I want to go and make my list now. Like, so if you want that, let me know in the comments. But this movie just blew my mind. It's like I said, it's my new favorite movie. I absolutely freaking loved it. And how lucky am I that in the same calendar year, I watched that, and I watched My Heart Is That Eternal Rose, which is my other new favorite heroic blood. I'm actually looking for that Blu-ray because it's in this room somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But there's a review of that on the channel, so you can go and check that out. But both of those films are just like top 10 heroic bloodshed movies for me now, and I watched My Heart Is That Eternal Rose in January. I watched this one in October. I'm just like a very privileged and lucky person. Such a huge shout out to Louise for sending that my way. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Will, and we'll see you next time.